So Christmas is coming up, and I hate how it feels like now this holiday is just all about money. When I was a kid and I wasn't concerned about getting anything for anybody, it was just about what do I want. It was a lot of fun to get something, really expensive or really complex or even just really big. And it was exciting to go to school and say, oh, what'd you get? What'd you get? What'd you get? Or even beyond that, just to spend all day playing, my new video games or with new toys or eating candy that I got, whatever it was. I understand that feeling as a kid, and I think a lot of people do. We remember what it felt like to be a kid and get, a big gift and just be so excited. I don't know. I think as we get older, for me as a teenager, there was definitely a point where I was just like, this isn't that fun anymore. I mean, first of all, people kind of care about you less, so you don't get as much or as impressive of a gift. Um, and at the same time, now people start looking at you like, well, what are you going to get me? At some point, you have to stop giving the fake gifts that, yo, my mom really got this, but I will say it's from me. And you have to start using your money. I guess as soon as you start working, as soon as you start getting money of your own, people kind of look at you like, all right, well, time to return those favors. And now, yeah, it's just this weird process of like 2 weeks ahead of time or a week ahead of time, like, hey, send me over a list of some stuff that you want. And don't send me one general list. I want you to send me a specific list so I don't get the same thing as another person. And the effect of that is that I'm expected every year at this time of year, at the close of the year, I'm expected to think of a list of like, I don't know, 5 to 10 to 15 things that I could reasonably be pleased with if somebody got them from me. And the reality is that most of the time, I genuinely don't even have that many things I want or care about. And in the weeks following, I'll think of a bunch of things that I wish I would have asked for. Um, but in general, it's usually a task for me to come up with a list, let alone to go through other people's lists and figure out what I'm going to get them. And obviously, from one frame, this is a very, very first world problem. It's a very spoiled, privileged problem to have. Like, oh my goodness, like people are forcing gifts on me. But I think it reinforces my proclivity to be happy when I get something, which I don't want to reinforce personally. But what I want to talk about more here is how gift giving became so associated with this Christian holiday. At the end of the day, this holiday is supposed to be about the birth of Jesus Christ. And whether you're religious or not, I think it's pretty interesting to think about and understand how it moved from that pure version of it, where it was highly religious, to now where most of what is celebrated about Christmas is disconnected from Jesus. It's a materialist, consumerist holiday. And so I started looking into, okay, how did it get exactly like this? And I've mapped out a little bit of the trajectory. So in the Victorian era, the celebration of Christmas became popularized. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert popularized the Christmas tree and other traditions which became synonymous with the holiday. This era saw a shift in focus towards family, children, and gift giving. And then, of course, with the Industrial Revolution and mass production and the rise of consumer goods, products became more accessible and affordable, leading to an increase in gift giving during Christmas. So again, many things can be tied into the Industrial Revolution. I'm not trying to go unibombery here, but it's frustrating sometimes. I think a lot about these cultural trends and how things have evolved and gotten to the point where they are. And it might just be a short-sightedness of history. But a lot of the times, things can easily be traced back to the Industrial Revolution, at least in terms of consumerism. And it's interesting to think about how fresh of a paradigm this is in that case. It's amazing to me how quickly we can just completely adapt as a culture to a trend that was manufactured with intent to get us to buy things or to get us to desire, to feel bad about our current state, to feel discomfort or insecurity of some sort. and then to go be better consumers, to go spend more money. It's really weird how quickly that can become ingrained in the biggest religion in America. So moving on from there, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, department stores began using Christmas-themed window displays and advertisements to attract customers. This commercialization was further boosted by the introduction of Santa Claus in advertising, most notably by Coca-Cola in the 1930s. This makes me think of a fake fun fact I just want to shout out. I was playing mini golf the other day with some friends, and one of the holes had a trivia bonus point. And it said, yes or no, true or false, Coca-Cola is the reason that Santa Claus wears red. And the girl who was playing that hole didn't know, but her friend just knew this off the top of her head that it was true. And so the girl chose true and she got the point. And that kind of blew my mind because, again, it just speaks to this thing of culturally imposed narratives or trends. I mean, to me, it's like, it blew my mind thinking that, what the fuck, Coca-Cola is the reason Santa wears red. I then went and looked into it after I left, and I guess it's not true. I don't fully know. I mean, it seems debatable. This supports at least just saying that Coca-Cola played a big role in the popularization of Santa Claus as this icon of both Christmas and consumerism. I mean, you kind of think about it from a deeper level. It's amazing to me that Santa Claus has overtaken Jesus in terms of the iconography of Christmas. Again, I don't know the full details of how the introduction of Santa Claus in advertising by Coca-Cola and others exactly played out. I like to think that they weren't just a bunch of evil boardroom executives laughing and snarling and rubbing their hands together, thinking about how much profit they were going to make by shoving Santa Claus down our throats and making us forget about Jesus. But it's interesting to think about. So continuing from there, as economies grew, particularly in the United States, the Christmas season became an important time for retailers and businesses, with sales during this period often being a significant portion of their annual revenue. The concept of Black Friday and other sales events further entrenched this. So Black Friday, this big event that we've all seen videos of people shoving each other down to the floor and trampling people, and people dying by just being completely run over by hordes of crazy people trying to grab TVs and PS5s and whatever. We've all seen those videos. And this phenomenon of Black Friday began in November of 1951. So for only 70 years, we've been doing this practice of buying a bunch of things because they're reduced priced so that we can give them to people about a month later at Christmas. So now not only is it like one day or 1 week where we're in this consumerist mindset, but really from Thanksgiving on, and even before that, because people are, oh, what am I going to get for Black Friday? I'm checking out the deals. It's crazy. But for half of winter, we're really in this buildup to the consumerist singularity that is Christmas. So, continuing, we have the role of media and culture. You've got movies, music, and television that play a big role in shaping the modern Christmas ethos, often emphasizing gift-giving, decorations, and festive spending. And with globalization, as Western cultural practices spread globally, so did the consumerist aspect of Christmas, leading to its adoption in various forms around the world, even in non-Christian cultures. So now you've got this holiday that began in celebration of a baby being born in a manger. And now countries around the world who don't even have big Christian communities have adopted this practice of celebrating Christmas, celebrating this. They're getting a tree, putting ornaments on it, getting each other gifts, eating cake and all that. I don't know the statistics, but I think it's pretty fair to say that if consumerism hasn't already usurped Christianity as the core driver of Christmas practices, then it's definitely on a trajectory to do so within the near future. And it probably already has. And this isn't a religious take that I'm really putting on it. This is more of a understanding and just an exploration of why this day is kind of like a head trip. It's people talk about it, at least in my family and in many families, they discuss it as this time for family to come together, this time to kind of celebrate um, a religion and celebrate love and unity and gift giving and being thankful. And that's the way it's talked about. But the way people behave during it is gross to me. It's very much like, get me this, get me this. I'm going to be mad if I don't get this. Or I want this, I want this. Okay, if people don't get this for me, I'm going to get this for myself. A lot of the times people end up spending, hundreds of dollars on themselves alone because they see this as a time to splurge in general. And they see it as if people don't get this from me, then I'm going to need it. So I'm going to get it for myself. And I don't know how most people feel about this. It seems like a lot of the time the people close to me in my life don't think about it on this level. But for me, it brings me a lot of personal discomfort because I have this romantic notion of a day where we could just kind of come together and appreciate each other instead of it being spending money and giving people gifts and receiving the things that we ask for. It's really disheartening because I think that there should be a day where we just come together. And I honestly think it's cool to give like sentimental gifts, but at the same time, nobody in my life wants to get them. And I maybe am not at a step in my maturity where I'm going to be completely okay receiving like just sentimental things like, oh, this is a cup with your name on it, or hey, this is a little picture I drew you. Those are nice, but if I'm the only one getting that stuff and everybody else is getting PS5s and flat screen TVs, and I'm probably gonna feel a little type of way, and I got to work on that. But I do have this notion of what Christmas could be, and every year when people start giving me their lists,